Why do some men walk into a room and the world adjusts itself around them? Why do some men speak softly, and yet their presence is louder than the crowd? And why do women feel drawn, sometimes helplessly, toward the man who doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't bend? Machiavelli would say, "Power is not taken, power is exuded." Today, you'll learn the 5 hidden Machiavellian rules that transform a man into a magnet, not through manipulation, not through games, but through self-possession. These rules don't make women beg you, they make them never want to lose you. Machiavelli studied kings, rulers, and leaders. He didn't write about dating, but he understood human attraction better than modern psychology does. Because what draws people, especially women, is not beauty or money, it's gravity. A man who radiates inner gravity doesn't chase connection. Connection chases him. These are the 5 rules that create that gravity. In the year 1513, while the world still bowed before kings, crowns, and gods, Niccolo Machiavelli wrote something he never expected anyone outside the royal courts to read. He wrote about power, about desire, about human weakness, and buried between the lines of The Prince were rules so brutally honest, so psychologically precise, that they apply not just to politics, but to relationships, especially attraction. Most people misunderstand Machiavelli. They think he taught manipulation. They think he taught cruelty. But Machiavelli didn't teach you how to deceive women. He taught you something far more dangerous: how to understand human nature so deeply that people willingly give you what they once protected. And this is the uncomfortable truth. Women are not drawn to men who chase them. They are drawn to men who understand the hidden structure of desire itself, not because they are shallow, not because they are manipulative, but because human nature, male or female, is moved by strategy more than sincerity. Machiavelli noticed patterns that modern psychology took 500 years to confirm, patterns that explain why certain men effortlessly attract them in devotion, while others collapse under the weight of their own neediness. He wrote that the world and the people in it are guided by fear, desire, and ambition. And when you understand how these 3 forces operate inside the female psyche, you unlock something most men never access: leverage without manipulation, attraction without begging, influence without pressure. And that is where the first hidden rule emerges, the rule Machiavelli never wrote directly, but revealed through every observation, every sentence, every ruthless truth. The first rule is coming, but before that, understand this: if you do not master yourself, you cannot master attraction. This is the doorway into every Machiavellian dynamic that follows. Before we enter the first hidden rule, you must understand the foundation Machiavelli built everything upon. Human nature does not respond to intention, it responds to advantage. This is the brutal truth most men avoid. They think women fall in love with kindness, purity, poetic devotion. They tell themselves that loyalty creates attraction, that honesty ensures commitment, that consistent affection guarantees security. But Machiavelli observed the opposite. He discovered that predictability destroys desire, that availability weakens influence, and that emotional exposure without boundaries invites loss, not loyalty. In the courts he studied, the men who chased were ignored, and the men who positioned themselves as rare were desired, protected, and pursued. This is the environment where Machiavelli realized his first hidden rule, a rule so psychologically sharp that modern dating coaches still haven't grasped its depth. Rule 1. Desire lives in the space you do not fill. Machiavelli saw that when a man gives everything too quickly, attention, validation, emotional access, he destroys the space in which longing grows. A woman does not chase what she fully possesses. She chases what she almost possesses, what she almost understands, what she almost reaches. And this is where most men fail. They smother instead of seduce. They reveal instead of intrigue. They offer instead of position. Women don't beg for men who drown them in reassurance. They beg for men who create emotional gravity, the kind of presence that pulls without pushing. Machiavelli explained that humans value what feels scarce and fear losing what feels powerful. When you are too available, you become abundant. When you are too predictable, you become ordinary. When you are too eager, you become replaceable. This rule does not mean being cold, cruel, or distant. It means being controlled. It means being selective. It means understanding what Machiavelli saw 500 years ago. Attraction grows in uncertainty. Devotion grows in tension. Desire grows in the unknown. Now we move deeper into the second hidden rule Machiavelli implied but never dared to write openly. A rule so timeless, so psychologically potent, that it explains why certain men naturally command feminine devotion while others decay into emotional servants. Machiavelli observed something unsettling inside courts, kingdoms, and private chambers. People admire strength, but they attach themselves to certainty. Not certainty of emotion, certainty of identity. This is where most men fail without ever knowing it. They bend, they adapt, they reshape themselves to the woman they want because they believe accommodation equals affection. But in Machiavelli's world, and in relationships today, the man who reshapes himself loses shape entirely. This leads to the second hidden rule. Rule 2. Never let desire rewrite your identity. In the royal courts Machiavelli studied, the men who lost themselves trying to impress women were discarded, forgotten, or quietly pitied. Women didn't want them, they tolerated them. They became ornaments, not anchors. Because here's the truth Machiavelli exposed. A woman cannot respect a man who abandons himself for her. She may appreciate him, she may enjoy his presence, but she will never chase him, never crave him, never surrender emotionally to him. Why? Because when you let desire reshape your identity, you become a mirror, not a man. You reflect her preferences instead of revealing your principles. And mirrors do not draw people in, they simply show them what they already know. Women beg for the man who stands unshaken, the man who is carved from his own beliefs, the man whose values do not tremble under pressure, beauty, or attention. Machiavelli witnessed this repeatedly. Those who maintained unshakable identity were pursued, protected, and romanticized. Their confidence was not performance, it was position. Their presence carried weight because their identity did not shift like a leaf in the storm of desire. To embody this rule, you must understand, attraction is not built on sacrifice. It is built on self-possession. If you cannot lead yourself, you cannot lead desire. If you cannot define yourself, no one else will value you. This is the heart of Rule 2 and the doorway to Rule 3. Control is not taken. Control is granted to the one who does not need it. Image prompts in minute 3. A resolute man standing before a Renaissance throne, surrounded by shadows, yet unmoved, symbolizing unshakable identity. Modern, seductive Renaissance digital painting with Baroque lighting and romantic dramatic tones. A woman observing a strong, self-contained man from across a dimly lit palace hall, desire and curiosity in her eyes. Modern, seductive Renaissance digital painting with Baroque lighting and romantic dramatic tones. A symbolic scene of a man breaking free reflective mirrors that try to reshape him, representing identity over desire. Modern seductive Renaissance digital painting with Baroque lighting and romantic dramatic tones. Rule 3 is the point where Machiavelli's brilliance and brutality become undeniable. This is the rule most men resist because it challenges the emotional fantasies they've been raised on. But if you master it, you unlock the psychological force that turns attraction into pursuit and pursuit into devotion. Machiavelli noticed that the most powerful men were not the strongest, the richest, or the most charming. They were the most unpredictable. Not chaotic, not unstable, unpredictable. It wasn't their mood that changed, it was their rhythm, their timing, their emotional cadence. They didn't reveal their next move, and because of that, people, including women, leaned toward them trying to decipher the mystery. This led to the third hidden rule. Rule 3. Predictability kills desire. Controlled unpredictability creates obsession. Machiavelli observed that the human mind is addicted to what it cannot fully grasp. When a man becomes predictable, he becomes consumed, understood, categorized, filed away. And once a woman understands every emotional pattern you have, there is nothing left for her psyche to chase. Desire dies in emotional certainty, but when a man remains steady in character, yet unpredictable in expression, meaning he does not react the same way every time, he does not reveal every thought, he does not respond instantly to every emotional cue, he becomes a psychological puzzle. Women do not chase men they completely understand. They chase the ones who remain slightly out of reach, slightly unreadable, slightly beyond emotional capture. Machiavelli described it using the metaphor of fortune, the force that favors boldness but punishes predictability. His observation applies perfectly to attraction. If she can predict every move you make, she will stop valuing your presence. If she cannot predict your next move, she will start craving your attention. Controlled unpredictability is not manipulation. It is mastery over your reactions. You don't disappear, you don't play games, you simply stop giving emotional responses on demand. A man who is unmoved becomes attractive. A man who chooses his engagement becomes powerful. A man who is hard to read becomes unforgettable. This is why Rule 3 transforms attraction into pursuit. It shifts the dynamic from her receiving your energy to her seeking it. Now we arrive at one of the most controversial truths Machiavelli ever hinted at. A truth that exposes why certain men trigger deep feminine devotion while others drown in emotional exhaustion. This is the moment Machiavelli stops describing people and begins exposing them. Through observing kings, generals, and lovers behind closed palace doors, he noticed something most men fail to understand. People value what can be lost. They ignore what is guaranteed. This wasn't cruelty. It wasn't manipulation. It was simply human nature unfolding in its rawest form. And this leads to Rule 4. Never give more security than desire. Most men do the opposite. They think giving complete emotional security will create love. They think offering absolute loyalty will create passion. They think proving they will never leave will make a woman stay. But Machiavelli saw the truth. Security without desire becomes suffocation. Desire without limits becomes loyalty. When a woman knows she cannot lose you, she stops valuing you. Not because she is ungrateful, but because the human mind ignores what feels guaranteed. Machiavelli used a brutal analogy. Men forget the death of their father before the loss of their inheritance. In modern terms, people feel losses 10 times more intensely than gains. This psychology governs romance. She must feel that your presence is a privilege, not a prison, that your attention is earned, not owned, that your loyalty is chosen, not automatic. This doesn't mean threatening her, punishing her, or playing games. This means you maintain a life outside her. You keep your mission at the center. You maintain standards she must continuously meet. You remain willing, quietly, without drama, to walk away from anything that compromises your values. When a man possesses this energy, a woman doesn't just desire him, she respects him. She fears losing him. She invests emotionally because his presence carries weight. This is why Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be respected than loved if you cannot be both." Because respect anchors love, and once respect is lost, desire dissolves. Rule 4 is the shift from emotional servitude to emotional sovereignty, the point where a man becomes a prize rather than a provider of endless reassurance. Now we arrive at the final and most dangerous of Machiavelli's hidden rules, the rule that separates men who are merely attractive from men who become unforgettable, irreplaceable, and psychologically magnetic. This rule is the reason some men become addictions while others become memories. Machiavelli noticed something that shocked him, something deeper than desire and more powerful than attraction. He discovered that the individuals who inspired the greatest loyalty were not the kindest, not the strongest, not even the most dominant. They were the ones who understood this final principle. Rule 5. Presence is power, but only when it is earned. This rule is the heart of every Machiavellian dynamic. It explains why a man who overexposes himself loses value, while a man who controls his presence gains influence without lifting a finger. Machiavelli observed that kings who appeared too frequently lost mystery. Leaders who tried too hard to please became forgettable. Lovers who offered constant access became taken for granted. But the ones who controlled their presence, who chose when to appear, when to withdraw, when to reveal, and when to remain silent, became forces the world revolved around. In relationships, the exact same psychology rules feminine desire. A woman craves the man whose presence feels meaningful, a man who carries intention, gravity, and depth, a man who doesn't just enter a room, he alters it. Most men make the fatal mistake of being always available, always present, always accessible. They think more presence equals more affection, but Machiavelli saw the truth. Constant presence breeds emotional numbness. Controlled presence breeds emotional hunger. To apply Rule 5, you must master 3 things. 1. Your timing. Don't always respond instantly. Don't always be ready. Your value increases when your access is selective. 2. Your energy. Don't enter interactions weak, drained, or emotional. Presence only has power when the energy behind it is strong. 3. Your mission. A man who is not defined by a purpose becomes defined by his partner. And the moment you become defined by her, you lose the very polarity that generates desire. This is why Machiavelli warned rulers and men that influence has nothing to do with dominance and everything to do with perception. Your presence must feel like a privilege, not a habit, not a routine, a privilege. Now we arrive at one of the most controversial truths Machiavelli ever hinted at, a truth that exposes why certain men trigger deep feminine devotion while others drown in emotional exhaustion. This is the moment Machiavelli stops describing people and begins exposing them. Through observing kings, generals, and lovers behind closed palace doors, he noticed something most men fail to understand. People value what can be lost. They ignore what is guaranteed. This wasn't cruelty. It wasn't manipulation. It was simply human nature unfolding in its rawest form. And this leads to Rule 4. Never give more security than desire. Most men do the opposite. They think giving complete emotional security will create love. They think offering absolute loyalty will create passion. They think proving they will never leave will make a woman stay. But Machiavelli saw the truth. Security without desire becomes suffocation. Desire without limits becomes loyalty. When a woman knows she cannot lose you, she stops valuing you. Not because she is ungrateful, but because the human mind ignores what feels guaranteed. Machiavelli used a brutal analogy. Men forget the death of their father before the loss of their inheritance. In modern terms, people feel losses 10 times more intensely than gains. This psychology governs romance. She must feel that your presence is a privilege, not a prison, that your attention is earned, not owned, that your loyalty is chosen, not automatic. This doesn't mean threatening her, punishing her, or playing games. This means you maintain a life outside her. You keep your mission at the center. You maintain standards she must continuously meet. You remain willing, quietly, without drama, to walk away from anything that compromises your values. When a man possesses this energy, a woman doesn't just desire him, she respects him. She fears losing him. She invests emotionally because his presence carries weight. This is why Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be respected than loved, if you cannot be both." Because respect anchors love, and once respect is lost, desire dissolves. Rule 4 is the shift from emotional servitude to emotional sovereignty, the point where a man becomes a prize rather than a provider of endless reassurance. Now we arrive at the final and most dangerous of Machiavelli's hidden rules, the rule that separates men who are merely attractive from men who become unforgettable, irreplaceable, and psychologically magnetic. This rule is the reason some men become addictions while others become memories. Machiavelli noticed something that shocked him, something deeper than desire and more powerful than attraction. He discovered that the individuals who inspired the greatest loyalty were not the kindest, not the strongest, not even the most dominant. They were the ones who understood this final principle. Rule 5. Presence is power, but only when it is earned. This rule is the heart of every Machiavellian dynamic. It explains why a man who overexposes himself loses value, while a man who controls his presence gains influence without lifting a finger. Machiavelli observed that kings who appeared too frequently lost mystery. Leaders who tried too hard to please became forgettable. Lovers who offered constant access became taken for granted. But the ones who controlled their presence, who chose when to appear, when to withdraw, when to reveal and when to remain silent, became forces the world revolved around. In relationships, the exact same psychology rules feminine desire. A woman craves the man whose presence feels meaningful, a man who carries intention, gravity, and depth, a man who doesn't just enter a room, he alters it. Most men make the fatal mistake of being always available, always present, always accessible. They think more presence equals more affection, but Machiavelli saw the truth. Constant presence breeds emotional numbness. Controlled presence breeds emotional hunger. To apply Rule 5, you must master 3 things. Your timing. Don't always respond instantly. Don't always be ready. Your value increases when your access is selective. Your energy. Don't enter interactions weak, drained, or emotional. Presence only has power when the energy behind it is strong. Your mission. A man who is not defined by a purpose becomes defined by his partner, and the moment you become defined by her, you lose the very polarity that generates desire. This rule is why Machiavelli warned rulers and men that influence has nothing to do with dominance and everything to do with perception. Your presence must feel like a privilege, not a habit, not a routine, a privilege. Rule 5 transforms a man from ordinary to unforgettable, the type of man women do not simply want, but emotionally chase.